I'd like to call tonight's Lower McCountry Board of Commissioners workshop to order. If we could all please stand for a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so the first item up tonight are interviews for the Planning Commission openings. I believe there are two openings, Renee, or there will be two openings. Okay, so first up is Mr. Ronald W. Beitler. If you would just come up to the front here, sir. You want to come up for this? Or okay. It's up to you. Okay, Mr. Jones, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Beitler, thank you for your continued interest in serving the township. Our planning commission has an open seat, and we have interest from a number of individuals. And what we've done over the years is prepare a standard set of questions that we ask everybody to get a good idea of your understanding, interest, and ideas about serving on the planning commission. Of course, thank you for your interest, because we wouldn't be able to proceed forward without, interested volunteers. So thank you for continuing your interest in volunteerism. I'll just jump right into the questions. Again, these are 8 questions that are kind of the standard, and this is obviously conversational. So if we end up having a discussion and we cover one of the points, we won't ask them in a complete line. But the first one is general, which is, what's your understanding of the Planning Commission, its purpose? What do you think it does for the township? How do you think it functions and serves the township?
So I currently serve on the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, including its executive board, and 12 years of involvement here at the township. So I'm super familiar not only with planning commissions in general, but this planning commission. Obviously, the high level, it's MPC dictated entity, determines that they exist. They're advisory boards. They do things such as review plans as they come in, requests to update the zoning code. They can also proactively make suggestions if the board feels as though that's important, and that can be taken under advisement by the Board of Commissioners to move forward. So it's a sounding board, advisory to the Board of Commissioners in all areas related to comprehensive land use planning and saldo for the township.
Great, thank you. And why should you be selected? What do you think would make you a great candidate? Do you possess any unique training or background or skills that you think would help you serve the township? I think you just spoke to that a little bit, but that's question number 2.
Yeah, 12 years of involvement, started in 2014. Most recently, 4 years on the zoning hearing board. Really enjoyed my time on the zoning hearing board, but it's interesting. I think it was 4 years of a lot of pool setbacks and de minimis things, and that's really good because Nate, as you remember, and working with Sarah before you, there was once upon a time the zoning hearing board here was getting inundated with major requests, and that was because 12, 15 years ago, the zoning code wasn't modern. And so we were getting a lot of requests because of that. Now that we completely updated our zoning code and aligning it with the Southwest Regional Comprehensive Plan, we're getting less of those major requests. They aren't coming in as frequently. So we end up handling a lot of those, contractor messes up a pool and they're asking for a setback or de minimis things or, that kind of stuff. So 4 years of that. I'm just more interested now in getting into some more meaty planning.
And that leads right into the next question, which is your familiarity with comprehensive planning and zoning ordinances, saldo. Do you share what your familiarity is with them, and do you know what they do as part of our local development process in the township?
Sure. So it kind of flows down. It starts with the state municipal planning code, which lays the groundwork. Then, of course, we have a regional comprehensive plan, Future Lehigh Valley. That's the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, where I sit on that board now. And then, of course, here we're lucky and have the foresight to be involved in a multi-municipal comprehensive plan. That's for us, that's the Southwest Regional Group. The Milfords, us, Albertus, Macungie, Emmaus. So between those documents and now here in Lower Mac having a very modern and recently updated, very recently, I guess, the most recent update is you just voted on it or you're about to vote on it, I think. So everything kind of flows there from the top down so that we make sure we have a modern comprehensive code here that determines, what direction we want to see the township continue to go on and what kind of place we want to be 20 years from now.
Great.
I can get on my horse and go, but I'm assuming you don't want that. So I'll try to be concise. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So as far as scheduling, are you willing and able to attend 2 evening meetings a month? Generally, it would just be one planning commission meeting, but we may need a workshop to go over ordinance updates. Or sometimes, as we've seen, if we receive a lot of applications, we would need 2 regular meetings to conduct business so that they don't go too late in the evening. It's the first and the third Thursday. I'm sorry, the first and my apologies. It's the second Tuesday and potentially the third Tuesday. Yep.
Yeah, Tuesdays work great for me. That's when the zoning board meets now on the off weeks of the planning commission. So I got my Tuesdays cleared.
Excellent. Presumptively here, your attendance at planning commission meetings in the past and board of commissioner meetings in the past have been pretty constant. Are you and have you attended meetings where a proposed development has been on the agenda where you have been a member of the public?
Where I've been, have I attended a planning commission meeting where it proposed?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes. Probably in triple digits.
Okay. Are you employed by, associated with, or do you belong to any business, company, association, or group which regularly appears in front of the township with any type of formal business?
My business has been in front of the board, but the days of that property evolving are well behind us. So I don't foresee any other instances where we would be in front of the township for any reason that I'm aware of now.
All right, thank you. And then the last 2 really help us figure out what your ideas and visions are. The first one is, what is your vision for the township in 5 or 10 years, or even 25 years? How do you think it's going to look, and what do you think the future of the township is?
Sure. So I don't think there's a lot of disruption that should happen. I think there's a good plan in place. I think that plan's been cultivated over the last decade or so, maybe even a little longer. It started with things that happened when I was active and engaged with this board. Again, the reference at Southwest Regional Comprehensive Plan and then the subsequent code updates. So I think the roadmap is in place. At this point, it's just making sure that we're executing it. There's always things that evolve. I guess an example would be the township's official map, which is, I think, about to be updated or was just recently, there was some discussion about it. So that's a symptom of success, though. I mean, a lot of, version 1.0 and 2.0, a lot of those goals have been achieved. So now we're looking at that third set of goals. And I just, love to be a part of that conversation to see, what else is out there that we can talk about as far as preservation. As far as land use, a lot of the big properties are now off the table. So what we're getting now is a lot more of the, adaptive redevelopment stuff, the infill stuff, which has its own unique challenges, of course. I've been following with great interest, which I think is a wonderful project, the Topgolf project, over there on the bypass. Certainly a large scale, high quality project, but with challenges relative to the bypass and what improvements PennDOT's going to require. So, I think it's just a lot of, keeping the ship steady is important because a lot of the groundwork has already been laid. A lot of the plans are in place and now it's just executing them. just making sure that the township stays innovative. I think, a lot of the planning wins that have happened and the preservation wins as a result of this board and staff, being willing to think outside the box. So that continues to be important.
Great, thanks. So the last question that I have is, what is your view of the current development occurring in the township and throughout the Lehigh Valley as a whole? What do you like? What don't you like? And what do you think what it's going to look like in the future?
Yeah, so obviously just touched upon the Topgolf project. I think is a real opportunity for the township to be a part of a benchmark project. I know from our years of conversations, Nate, that prior to that sort of one you were involved in, Madison Farms was kind of the standard, but I would love to see Topgolf kind of become that gold standard. Obviously, the big one is, and we've been working on this at the county level in the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, but we're working on a new, and you might have seen the article about it, a new industrial use guidebook. So that, as we're transitioning as a region where the emergent land use is moving away from warehouses and more towards technology and data centers and hyperscale data centers and all the things that come along with that, the power demands, et cetera, that's the big one. So I was happy to hear that South Whitehall adopted new standards, Palmer Township adopted new standards, Upper Macungie is working on them now. And I know from conversations, Wes and others, that Lower Mac's thinking about that as well. So I think it's a good thing that, Lower Mac is always sort of, ahead of these issues and not caught flat-footed. So it's important to keep driving those conversations.
Great. Thank you for all that feedback. That concludes all the questions that we ask. I would turn it over to the commissioners if they have any individual questions they'd like to ask.
Are there any questions from the board or from the chair of the Planning Commission?
I'll ask one, Brian.
Yeah, sure.
Ron, do you think that there'll be any conflict of interest or concerns that you're currently on the county board? I could see a lot that could possibly be a benefit as well, but anything that you see that could be a concern?
Yes. So currently, the composition of the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission actually includes some slotted positions. So right now, by design, there are seated township supervisors, commissioners, county commissioners, et cetera. So no, I think they value as an organization that direct feedback. Next door in Upper Macungie, Sonny Guy, for example, is a supervisor and sits in the Planning Commission. So what he does, which I think is a good precedent, and most everyone who's in that same position, they'll typically, even though it's not required to, they'll typically, recuse themselves from something that has to do with their home municipality. So obviously, if there was a plan coming from here in front of that board, I'd probably recuse myself so as not to double dip. Because what would be the point of that? So.
No, makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything else from you, Nate?
No,
All right.
sir.
Mr. Breitler, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. Yeah, great. How you doing? Good. All right, Mr. Jones, our next contestant of the evening, Jennifer Mack, for Planning Commission.
Ms. Mack, thank you for your interest in volunteering with the township and our planning commission.
He's up there.
Thank you. I was like, where is that coming from? I was like, he's not. Sorry, just orienting myself.
He's the Wizard of Oz. He's behind the
Yeah,
curtain.
you know what? I'm seeing Wicked tomorrow, so.
Saw it on Friday, so
Oh, is it
beat
good?
to it.
I got really confused with the whole timeline of the Wizard of Oz and Wicked, and then I saw a TikTok, and that really helped me. Anyway, sorry. Hi.
Hi, thanks for your interest. Yep. I'll be going to see that movie over the weekend too. Hopefully it won't be too busy. Um, so as I noted previously, I don't know if you heard, we generally ask a standard set of 8 questions of anybody who's interested in serving on the Planning Commission as part of the interview process. We're very thankful that we have a number of interested applicants. It's a very important board for the township. Basically, all of our planning activities, development activities do run through the Planning Commission for a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. So a lot of what you read or see in the paper or the news about things that are going on in the township do involve the Planning Commission. And with that, I would just start with the first question, which is, what's your understanding of the Planning Commission and its purpose with the township? And what do you think that it does with the township?
My understanding is that it's a voluntary advisory group to the Board of Commissioners. They advise on proposals for land use, zoning, regulations, and other ordinances, other regulatory ordinances. They use the comprehensive plan as a guide to promote the public health, safety, and welfare, along with guiding the township to grow in a sustainable manner and being fiscally responsible with that growth. So specifically, they implement the comprehensive plan through the review of ordinances. They review any changes in zoning ordinances, and they, as far as like zoning and or the SALDO, the subdivision and land development ordinance, and they make sure that the core goals of the comprehensive plan are followed before making any crucial decisions. They also review any new development to make sure that they meet the standards of any engineering needs for a development, like including the utilities or the roads, traffic, those types of safety issues. And ultimately, though, they balance the right of the property owner with the greater good of the community.
Great, thank you. Very comprehensive. I think that the next question you'll like as well then. Why do you think you should be selected to sit on the Planning Commission? Do you have any unique training or skills or background that would benefit the township and make you a great applicant?
Sure. I think that I should sit on the Planning Committee because I have a various background. I am by trade, I am the business manager for Zollner Art Center. I've been there for 13 years, so I have an extensive financial background when it comes to budgeting the Art Center as well as assisting the university for that. I also am a project manager for the Art Center as well as Lehigh University in smaller projects, not like, big projects as far as buildings are concerned, but smaller projects across the university. I also deal with the operations management of the Art Center itself, so making sure that we're following all safety guidelines when it comes to performances, that type of stuff. I'm a recent graduate of Lehigh University with a Master's of Arts in Environmental Policy Design, and along with that, I'm also a Master Gardener through the Pennsylvania University Extension since 2021. So I have an environmental focus when thinking about that. I'm also a resident for 15 years of the township, but was born and raised in the Lehigh Valley. I have 2 children that went through the East Penn School District, so I am familiar with that. And then I'm also, willing to dedicate the time that's needed to review all of the materials, the extensive materials before and following any meetings.
Great, thank you. You touched on it a little bit before, but what is your general knowledge and background as far as knowing the functionality of the comprehensive plan, the zoning ordinance, the subdivision and land development ordinance, and how they take part in our local development process? Sure.
The comprehensive plan, as far as I understand it, is sort of a master plan. It's a vision for the township for long-term goals and planning. It's kind of like a foundational document in which the Planning Commission follows to make sure that they are getting to the, to the goal of the actual plan when it comes to the zoning ordinances. Zoning ordinance is a legal document that regulates what can be done with the land and and how it can be used. It's also the legal mechanism to carry forward the process of those changes or plans. And it's usually divided into 4 buckets, which would be residential, commercial, industrial, and agricultural. The SALDO, which is, that's how I read it, is the subdivision and land development ordinance. And that is how the land is designed and engineered. So that's typically put into 2 categories, I'll say. One is subdivision. So if you were to take a plot of 10 acres and divide it into 10 1-acre divisions. And then there's the development side of it, which is you take a larger tract, single track, and you are making it into a larger development. So like a multi-housing development, residential development, or if you want to build a shopping center.
Okay, great. As far as availability, you mentioned your availability. The Planning Commission meets on the 2nd Tuesday of every month. If needed, we have a workshop on the 3rd Tuesday. Sometimes if it's actually busy enough, as we noticed coming out of COVID, we would have 2 regular monthly meetings on the 2nd and the 3rd to make sure that they didn't go too late. If it ends up being a workshop that we'd have on the 3rd, we'd be talking about ordinances or planning documents, updates along those so that they don't interfere with the regular business of what we get in the way of land development applications. Are you available on those 2 Tuesdays each month?
Yes. My children are grown, so I only have obligations to feed dogs and husband.
Okay. Have you ever attended a planning commission meeting or a board of commissioners meeting where a proposed development was on the agenda as an interested member of the public?
I have. I've attended 2 of them. One was when I live in Shepherd Hills. So when Shepherd Hills was going to be divided and the golf course was going to be what we refer to as taken away, I attended that meeting. And then I also recently attended the meeting of the land that was recently preserved across from Lower Macungie Middle School.
Okay. Are you employed with or associated or belong to any business, company, association, group which regularly appears in front of the township with any type of formal business?
No, I'm employed by Lehigh University, which resides in Bethlehem City, Northampton County.
Okay. What's your vision like for the township in 10, 15, or even 25 years? What do you think it's going to look like? What do you think the development will be like? If you could jump into the future, what would you see?
Well, there's a lot of big projects I see coming down in more of like the recent like 5-year pipeline, especially with the main corridor of Hamilton Boulevard 222. So I think that that's going to come to fruition. And I think that some of those things may have, whether they're negative or positive impacts, that the commission is going to have to review and sort of work through. 10 years, I kind of see a little bit more of a connection between old plans and current plans coming to into play. Possibly like the connection between all of the boroughs as far as a pedestrian or bicycle, like a greenway type thing. So I really look forward to that because I think that that's a fabulous idea. So a little bit more connectivity between the communities itself. And also along, I think the entirety of like, over 25 years, I see still a significant amount of farmland preservation, agricultural preservation, because I think that that's really important to our township. And I kind of just see it coming to sort of a maturity where, buildings are built with a certain look. There's a, maybe a historic value to it or not. A little bit of that Lehigh County, Lower Macungie Township identity will be more well established, especially in the pockets of Emmaus versus Albertus versus Macungie, et cetera.
Great, thank you. Great explanation. And how about at the regional scale? What do you think of the current development that's going on, not just in the township, but the Lehigh Valley as a whole and within the region? What do you like? What don't you like? And how do you see that impacts the region in the future?
Sure. I guess I'm optimistically cautious. There is a lot of development all over Easton, Bethlehem, and the Allentown region. We are very economically vibrant, so I think that that's a positive thing for our township. You know, as far as taxpayer dollars are concerned, in order to assist with projects, I think we all, when I say we all, like each city, Allentown, Easton, Bethlehem, sort of has its own identity. And I think all of the projects that move forward within those cities are very much focused with that identity in place. And I think I continue to see that, how they're all different. I mean, we have a vibrant arts community, we have a vibrant sports community. We have a lot of business industry, residential businesses. So I think we have a good place of people that people still want to move here. And I foresee that continuing for at least the next, 20 plus years. I mean, the Lehigh Valley is the third biggest city in Pennsylvania. So we're pretty small when it comes to Pennsylvania, when it comes to Philadelphia and, Pittsburgh, but I feel like we're small but mighty. So as far as concerns are concerned with, I think it's like the unintended consequences of all the growth, which of course everybody always says that the worst thing is parking and traffic. So I think that those are some of the unintended consequences of too much growth too fast. And I think that that's just something that has to sort of play out with different projects. Of course, you can try to plan, best laid plan, but you're never really going to be able to control everything. So I think that those are some of my concerns as well as.
Great. Thank you. Great explanations.
You're
Well, that concludes the regular questions that we ask of each and every applicant. At this point, I would hand it over to the board to ask you any specific questions that they can think of as they consider your application.
Okay.
Are there any questions from the commissioners or Mr. Barrett?
I'll just ask this. First of all, this interview and the interview just before you were probably the two most comprehensive interviews we've ever had for a volunteer position. If
we raised the bar.
Yes, you did. If you didn't get this position, are you interested in volunteering for any other positions?
Well, I originally was interested in the Environmental Advisory Council, but there was also a part on the application where it was like, if you could volunteer for something else, what would it be? It was the Planning Commission.
Okay.
So both go hand in hand, in my opinion.
Good to know. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, then, thank you very much. Thanks for coming and thanks for your interest.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night. Nate, we'll have Mr. Dowdy up in just a moment. Renee is going out to fetch him. There you get lost. Good evening, Mr. Dowdy. Thank you for your interest in the Planning Commission. I will turn over the questioning to Mr. Jones, who is up here, by the way. He's not.
Oh, hello.
He's not really here. We scared the last person. We don't want to do that again.
Good evening, Mr. Dowdy. Thanks for your continued interest in the Planning Commission. So we have a standard of 8 questions that we ask of every applicant who's interested in serving on the board. It helps the board and staff get a better idea of your understanding of the Planning Commission and your ideas on how you can serve the township. And again, thank you for your continued interest in wanting to serve the township. I'll just start off. What's your understanding of the Planning Commission, its purpose, and what do you think the Planning Commission does for our township?
Well, the purpose of the Planning Commission is to manage the comprehensive plan, to modify the comprehensive plan as necessary, and deal with issues relating to development and other general needs of the land use. The second part of that was, what was the second part? I'm sorry. But-
What do you think the planning commission does for our township
Oh,
as
I think,
particularly for Lower Macungie?
I served on the planning commission about 10 years ago and had to leave because of a job requirement. But so I'm very much aware of what the commission does, and I think they're doing a great job. I mean, I think what we have achieved in quality of life in the township, the planning commission is a good part of that.
Great. So number two, why do you think you should be selected for the planning commission? Do you possess any unique training, skills, or education background that would benefit the township in your role in the planning commission?
Well, I have about 40 years of local government employment and service in various functions. I actually served for a short time as a planning director, also as assistant city engineer at one time. And so I have a background in municipalities and how they function and what their obligations are.
Okay, great. So then for number three, do you know or you have familiarity with the comprehensive plan, zoning ordinances, subdivision and land development ordinances? Do you know what they do as part of the local government process and what specifically they do for the township?
Yes, I'm very much aware of that process, of the various processes for both for development, for zone changing, for strategic planning that people may have for development or whatever, to make sure it's consistent with the long-range goals of the township.
Okay, great. Number four, are you willing and able to meet 2 evenings a month to attend the meetings and workshops of the Planning Commission? It would be the second and the third Tuesday. Our regular business meeting is the second Tuesday. The third Tuesday would either be a placeholder potentially for a workshop where we talk about changing plans or looking at ordinance modifications, or in the case of a very busy queue of projects, even a second regular business meeting. Those Tuesdays, are you available?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Have you ever attended a planning commission meeting or a board of commissioners meeting where a proposed development was on the agenda as a member of the public?
Not as a member of the public, but as a member of the board.
Okay.
Time to time, yeah.
Are you employed by, associated with, or do you belong to any business, company, association, or group which regularly appears in front of the township with any type of formal business?
No.
Okay. Last two allow us to get a good idea of your thoughts and ideas as a whole, as a citizen and as you would serve on the planning commission. The first one is, what is your vision for the township in 5, 10, or even 25 years? How do you think it will look, and what do you think it will be like in the future?
Well, I think that's a what if question. I mean, if we do make certain decisions, it's going to be one way. If we make other decisions, it'll go in a different direction. I would hope that it wouldn't change all that much. I mean, we are sort of a semi-rural suburban area. I don't think that we ought to move into being a very urban area with high density of businesses and residential. So I would think that preserving our quality of life, preserving the kind of community that we have, the kind of development that we have, ought to be what the policy of the board and the policy of the planning commission should be.
Great, thank you. And the last one is kind of similar. What's your current view of development in the township and as the Lehigh Valley regionally as a whole? What do you like? What don't you like? How do you think everything affects the region?
Well, thought about that question quite a bit. We moved to Lehigh Valley in 1993, I think, about that time, and bought the house that we still have. And I worked at the airport, so every morning I had to go down Brookside Road, turn right on Hamilton Boulevard, and try to get to work. There was a consistent backup at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning on that road. We've now built a big bypass for Hamilton and invested a lot of money in the we've still got that problem. It just seems to me that we need to focus a lot on retaining the, and I don't want to say rural because that's not really what it is, but suburban character of the township. I don't think we want to become a city in the urban sense of a city. So I would hope that we would stay focused on the kind of development that we've had in the past, and not be particularly aggressive with new development.
Okay, great. Thank you for that thought out response. So that concludes the questions that we generally ask. And at this point, I would hand it over to the Board of Commissioners and the Planning Commission Chair to ask you any questions about your candidacy. I'm all finished.
Okay. Mr. Barrett, anything?
I do not have any questions.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right. Mr. Dowdy, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great night. All right, at this point in the meeting, I'll be turning over control of the workshop to Vice President Ward, since I am the next interview. So I'm going to go sit down there and stare at you people for a few minutes.
Bruce, are you handling this or is it going to Nick? Oh, Vin, my apologies.
I'm sorry, I put that.
No. I apologize.
That's all right.
Because I thought maybe Irvin would have been here, but I didn't. Never mind. Good? All set, yep.
All right, thanks. Thank you.
Mr. Higgins, welcome. Thank you for applying to serve your community potentially on the zoning hearing board. So,
Very nice to meet you.
so as a former member and chair, is that correct, of the zoning hearing board at one time?
I don't know if I was the chair. I was a member for a little over 2 years
Okay.
prior to my time on the Board of Commissioners.
Okay. So you're familiar, obviously, with the process of the zoning here.
Yes.
So what do you feel the purpose of zoning ordinances, township zoning ordinances, and they get there?
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah. I mean, the zoning ordinance, it allows the township to have development in a controlled and strategic way. You know, it makes sure that as things develop, you're not putting a factory next to somebody's house, or, you know, it purposefully looks at the best way for development to happen, but also provides rules and guidelines for all of that development as it comes through.
Thank you. Obviously, you know that the zoning hearing board is a quasi judicial board in matters that relate to zoning appeals. So what does that mean to you?
So the zoning hearing board essentially is, it's an outlet for residents or landowners who are looking for specific relief from zoning ordinances. And the function of the zoning hearing board is to make sure that all the zoning ordinances are applied fairly and equitably to everybody. They do so by conducting public hearings where evidence is presented, so that those residents can properly articulate the specific hardship that they're incurring because of the zoning. And then it gives others the opportunity to either voice opposition or voice support for such a variance, or to be given. It allows the township to come and actually either oppose or be in support of such variances. So as you said, it's almost like a judicial body, because, you know, we will take testimony, we will come to conclusions, we will give a written, I guess, judgment on what's going on, at which time that can be appealed to the courts and things like that. So.
Great, thank you. So the next question is, why are you interested in volunteering for the zoning board? And then says, you know, what do you have to offer? But obviously your experience here as a commissioner, also your experience as on the zoning hearing board. But if you could maybe expand on any other unique training that would be helpful and useful to the zoning hearing.
Sure. Well, with my time on the board coming to an end, I continue to plan to serve my community in one way or another. Zoning and Hearing Board to me is important. And I'm going to disagree with Mr. Beitler from earlier. I actually think the Zoning Hearing Board now in this township is more important than the Planning Commission. You know, planning and zoning here, we're now getting into interesting types of projects. It's not the big land development anymore. It's not huge housing projects. It's putting development into interesting, it's almost like trying to get a round peg into a square hole sometimes. I think the zoning hearing board is going to be extremely important to be able to determine what an actual hardship is. There are hardships that landowners and developers think are a hardship that are not really a hardship. And I think of economics as one of those. Economics is not a hardship. If you bought a piece of land and you want to develop it and it's in a certain zoning area, you better have a really good hardship to be able to get relief from that. So I think as this township continues to evolve and the types of projects that we see coming before the boards, the zoning hearing board is going to be very important in determining what is viable, what is really a hardship, and how does that fit into the overall zoning code of the township.
Thank you. So with that answer, you've also hit on the next question, so we'll go on. Are you willing to attend zoning hearing board meetings regularly, that they are once a month, if necessary?
Yes.
And then lastly, do you see yourself having any potential conflicts with applicants or people that may come in front of the zoning hearing board where you may have to recuse yourself from not hearing an appeal?
No.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Ward.
Any other questions from any of the commissioners? None? Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Do it again.
You can go, yeah, you can leave now. You still got 45 days. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 3, the other review of volunteer applications for various boards, committees, and commissions. Mrs. Flexer.
So, Board of Commissioners, what I did was a little bit different than what I did in previous years. I put in a reference sheet to show you what terms are expiring, and then a list of all applicants, and then all of the applications behind that. The deadline to receive applications isn't until November 30th, so we may get a couple extras in here. But I'll do the same as what I did in previous years. As soon as the November 30th timeline has expired, I'll send out the applications of everybody that was received, along with the reference sheet, and I'll also send it to the commissioner-elects as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions for Mrs. Flexer?
From Brian.
Yes. No, we don't know. He's scheduled for 7 o'clock, so we're a little ahead of schedule. So once he gets here, we'll kind of do the whole same thing. Okay, item 4, Debbie Jack, Library Board update. Come on up, Debbie.
Hello, everybody. My name is Debbie Jack. I'm the director of the Lower Macungie Library. I've been in this position now for a little over 2 years, and I haven't come in front of all of you yet, so I thought I would come and just update you on what is happening at the library and what we have going on, what we have coming up.
Yeah, there it goes.
Okay, so what services do we offer at Lower Macungie Library? They might surprise you. We're not just books anymore. We have a lot more than just books, DVDs, CDs, magazines, newspapers, books on CD. We recently have board games, Vox books, which are digital books that kids can turn the page and read along with. And we have puzzles and Library of Things, which is coming soon. We also have ebooks and e-audiobooks that you can download for free instead of going to Amazon and buying through Audible or for your Kindle. You can actually use your library card and download them for free on our website. We have free Wi-Fi. We have capability for printing, scanning, faxing. You could even send something from your home computer to our printer if your printer is not working at the moment. You can come in with something on your mobile device and you can print from there as well. We also have a service called Book a Librarian. You can book a time with a librarian and come in, and the librarian can help you learn something that you don't know, whether it's how to download the ebooks to your reader, how to set up an email address, anything that you need help with, we can help you with by appointment. We also proctor exams, and we have 2 notary publics on staff. This one surprises everyone. You can actually read the digital morning call with your library card for free on our website. I read it every day. We have assistive technology. We have JAWS and Zoom text. So if you are hearing impaired or sight impaired and you need a little bit of help, we can offer those for you to be able to use our computers. This is a list of all the different databases that we have. I will point out a few that might be of interest. We have Ancestry, the library edition, which you can access in the library. We have BrainFuse, which there is live tutoring that you can, a child can access from their home computer with another live tutor. We have A to Z databases, which is for businesses to use to curate mailing lists, things like that. And we also have Consumer Reports, which is sponsored by the Friends of the Library. We have museum passes. These are just some of the museums that you can borrow the pass and visit for free. Usually you can have up to a family of 2 adults and 4 kids for most of them. This is the list of the ones that we have, and we added these additional in April of this year, and we're planning on adding the Da Vinci Science Center starting in January. These are New York City, Philadelphia, and more local. We have STEM kits, we have hotspots, and we have puzzles. The hotspots are really cool. You can borrow one, take it in your car if you're taking a trip, and have Wi-Fi in your car the entire time. For our littlest users, we have My First Library Card, which if you're between infant and age 4, you can get a library card and take out 20 books at a time. And we also have 1,000 books before kindergarten, which is something that we have for parents and children to read together with the goal, through incentives, having read 1,000 books before kindergarten. These are the Vox books that I had mentioned earlier. We charge them at the library, and then when they get checked out, the child just hits play and the story is read to them as they read along with the story. Board games and puzzles. And this is the new exciting collection. So, Library of Things. Maybe you don't want to buy a Jenga set, but you're having a party. You want a giant Jenga for your party. So you can come borrow it from the library. Or you're thinking about taking up pickleball, but maybe I don't want to go out and buy the pickleball set yet. So you come and try it at the library. These are just a couple of other ideas. We're going to have like a happy birthday sign. You can convert your negatives and slides into digital photos, cornhole set. I think we have about 25 items that we are about to put into the collection for January. And we're going to continue building that collection now in 2026. So as long as you have a library card, you can get access to all of these things. And our library card, we share one card with all of the libraries that you see listed, which are all of the libraries in Lehigh and Carbon counties. You can use that card in any of those libraries. You can borrow items from those libraries that will be shipped down to us, and then you can pick them up at our library. So at the moment, we have access to 1.4 million items. And recently, Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, Monroe County Libraries, Bangor Library, and Nazareth Memorial Library also came on board to share with us. We have delivery 6 days a week, so items are always moving back and forth through the area. These are a list of some of the programs we have. These are our regular programs. They occur monthly, or in case of story time, they occur weekly. All of them are accessed on our website. So we have on our website on the right side, it says upcoming events. If you click on view full calendar, you can see everything that we have going on, and you can register right there for whatever you would like to attend. So some statistics. This year, this is up to November for this year. We have had 82,000 people visit the library. We've had 429 programs with over 7,000 people attending them. Almost 280,000 items have been borrowed. 1,800 people used our in-house computers, and 3,000 people connected to our Wi-Fi. These are just some pictures of some of the programs that we've had, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. This was at the end of our summer reading program. We had Kona Ice come and give some treats to all those kids who read a lot this summer. This is a video game club. These are some various craft programs I'm going to go through. Some Lego programs. This is our baby story time. The firehouse came to do a fire truck story time. It was very well attended. And then the kids got to go out and take a look at the fire truck. Another Lego program. This is for adults. This is a puzzle tournament. A genealogy workshop. And this was a very large event that we had last year. It was a Bridgerton ball. We had people come out and all dressed up, and we had a dance troupe come and teach them how to do the Regency era dances. People had a lot of fun. And this was a civics for grown-ups class. And a poetry night. That's what we have going on.
Thank you, Debbie. Any questions for Debbie? I don't have any questions. I will tell you that I've spent the last couple months Saturday mornings up at the community center, and I'm amazed every time I'm there, the number of people who were sitting outside waiting for the doors to open on a Saturday morning. It really is impressive. It is, and I will tell you this, from when I first got here to what the library is now, I like the expansion of what you have available. You know, it isn't just a library where you get a book anymore, or you're going to do a research paper. There's so much more that can be done and should be done, and the evolution has been tremendous. So, you know, keep up the good work. All right, thank you very much. Have a great evening. Okay, Commissioner Ward, I'm going to give this back to you.
Hey, Mr. Evans, come on up. Vince,
All you.
Yep, thank you.
How you doing? Wouldn't mind just stating your name for the record, please?
Brian Evans.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for your interest tonight in serving your community here on the zoning hearing board. So what we have is just have a couple questions that we pretty much asked every applicant. So I'm going to go through a couple of those and then I'll turn it back over to the board if they have any questions for you. Okay. So what do you feel is the purpose of zoning ordinances?
Zoning ordinances are intended to provide specific areas for the township, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial. You want to make sure that you have compatible uses and that you try to reduce conflicts between those specific uses.
Okay. Do you know anything about, or tell us a little bit about the overriding document, which is the Pennsylvania Municipality Planning Code?
Yeah, so the municipality planning code sets the framework for each individual townships or municipalities ordinances. It provides for the regional comprehensive plans, your decadal plans that you've got to do, and it's actually what gives the townships the authority to set their zoning ordinances and sets the framework.
Great, thank you.
And requires the community involvement, public participation as well.
Okay, great. So obviously, you know that zoning hearing board is a quasi judicial board in any matters that relate to a zoning appeal. And what does that mean to you?
So a quasi judicial board means to me it is a board. They hold hearings, they hear evidence, and they make decisions based on that evidence that is presented to them. And they have legal ramifications for those for the decisions that they make.
Okay. Why are you interested in volunteering for the zoning hearing?
I have volunteered for numerous different boards in the past, both here in Lower Macungie, in the borough of UMass, and Upper Milford. I have lived in Western Lehigh County most, if not all of my life. I have served, starting when I was in school. I went to school for environmental science. Also took some land use classes. So I was on the Shippensburg Township's Planning Commission as the student liaison back when I was in school. When I lived in UMass, I got involved with a wellhead protection plan that we had prepared for that municipality, which actually started their first environmental advisory council. That was a joint EAC with the borough of UMass and Upper Milford Township. I served on that until I moved back to Lower Macungie Township. At which time I was involved in the prior Board of Commissioners as they were making the transition to, Board of Supervisors, they transitioned to the Board of Commissioners and assisted them with a couple of things, which then led into the creation of Lower Macungie's EAC, and I was your first chairman of that. And got out of serving different governmental agencies as my kids were growing up and they were involved in sports, and they're now grown and somewhat out of the house. So I have time and I appreciate the opportunity to get back into working with the township again.
Great, thank you. So, you know, obviously you have experience on boards and committees. Is there any unique training that you could say would relate directly to zoning part of it?
I do have the, land use, environmental land use classes that I took back in college. I have also gone before zoning hearing boards in the past as part of my professional career as an environmental consultant. There have been different times, primarily putting in remediation systems at different sites where the zoning wasn't appropriate or didn't allow for it, usually for setback requirements or different things. And I've had to go before zoning in the past. So I've been on the other side of the table.
Good. So now you were to be on this side of the table, what do you feel that an applicant would have to show the zoning hearing board to grant a variance, or, what are your feelings on a hardship as is defined, in the zoning ordinance and the MPC?
Well, in the MPC, there's 6 criteria that you have to meet all of them in order for you to be granted a variance. There has to be an unnecessary hardship associated with that property. That hardship couldn't have been created by that individual, or by the applicant. And by granting the variance, you can't change the integrity of the community and you can't negatively affect the adjoining properties and the character of the community. You need to be reasonable. There's got to be some level of compassion involved, but you also need to maintain the integrity of the zoning. At the same time, you've got to find a balance.
So our meetings are held the fourth Tuesday of every month, typically regularly. But again, that depends on appeals. But you're willing to attend those
Yes.
meetings regularly, be a regular attendance
Yes.
member of the board?
Yes.
And they are at night, 6 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
How about, do you have any potential conflicts within either the industry or personally that which may require you to recuse yourself from any of the hearings?
Not that I'm aware of. Currently, most of the work that I'm doing is outside of actually, I'm not doing any work professionally inside the township, so I would not envision any conflicts.
And even personally, like developers or citizens groups or attorney, anything like?
Not that I can, I mean, obviously I've lived in the township a number of years, so there's always a potential that I may come across someone that I've crossed paths with in the past, but I don't foresee a problem, especially not with any of the developers.
All right, great. Well, that's all the questions that I have for tonight. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Ward.
Questions from the board? Thank you for your interest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, item number 5, review draft ordinance amending Chapter 18 sewers and sewage disposal for extra strength charges, sewer inspections, enforcement, and a new sewer district. Mr. Beidle.
Thank you. I'll take a couple of these items in here. Mr. Tranguch will help me with the common interest side. So what we've been working on internally as a staff is an update of Chapter 18. Part of these items are required for us to look at as we've had updates throughout the township. Most, I would note, annually, the section for extra strength charges for basically businesses and things and entities that put extra suspended solids or increased biochem oxygen demand or nitrogen into their discharge. We are part of a sampling program from the Lehigh County Authority, knowing when these type of items go down through the drain and through the treatment plant, they can affect it in a negative manner. So there's extra costs involved with treating what we call extra strengths. Chapter 18 does spell out an attachment to the costs that we must relay to those entities. Basically, the way it works, Lehigh County Authority comes out, they do a sampling of discharge. They then look for these materials. What they find, they then base on a rate per pound, and then they charge the township. We must then charge that user so that we are made whole for what we owe the authority. So I would note there are 3 rates. That bio-oxygen demand, what they call BOD, SS, suspended solid, and TKN, that is the nitrogen in the sewer discharge. So currently, the township rate is set at 37 cents for the BOD, 31 cents for the suspended solids, and 50 cents for that nitrogen level. The authority has provided to us in their budget for 2026 a BOD rate of 40 cents per pound, suspended solid of 39 cents per pound, and the nitrogen, the TKN rate, 0.53. So it's necessary that the board consider this increase in pricing, knowing that it's a pass-through from the authority. So we must set this rate by ordinance in Chapter 18. So that is the first component, which would be attachment 2. We'll recommend to the board when we finish this draft that you definitely make sure that we charge what the authority is charging us, so we don't be upside down to the ratepayers. So that's the first item. The second item, several months ago, we did acknowledge the creation of the new sewer district, District 1E. That's located behind the old Quarry Road, new Sauerkraut extension. We looked at that and authorized it by resolution and set the rate for that. Now we officially, as we have this chapter open, we'll acknowledge it in there as well. That's the ordinance component part of the creation of the district. The rate on that one is actually set by the resolution. So that's item 2. The third item that we're looking at, and as a staff, and like I said, I'll kind of defer to Mr. Fisher and Mr. Tranguch. The township does perform an inspection program on sewer laterals whenever they transfer ownership of various residential properties. As part of that, a plumber, registered plumber, takes video, provides it to the township. We review it. This has been in effect for several years now. One of the items, or the occupancy type, not occupancy type, but the residential type that we're looking at is these buildings where we have potential multiple single-family dwelling units combined into one building that shares a lateral, or AKA common interest lateral. We want to look at and have proposed some language to the board of things we're looking at on how to address the requirements of the program when we have these buildings that are split in various ways. So a little bit different than the individual residential. You know, you have a lateral, it's yours, you video it, and there it is. This lateral might be shared on 3 residentials. Who's responsible at this point? What happens if someone doesn't do it on the transfer? And what if we find an issue or concern? How is that then conveyed back to this property owner? So I maybe have summarized it appropriately. I'll defer to the staff on if I missed something, but those are the concept part that we're trying to run back to the board.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. Yeah, just to clarify a little bit. Yeah, I think we're trying to define the responsibility right now, where it's not defined in these common interest developments, number 1. Number 2, we really have to add in the definitions section of this chapter where we perform these sewer lateral inspections, this common interest development. So typically, also, we're defining homeowners association or community association, where it may not fall back on one property owner. So typically, these may be manufactured home communities. For example, maybe, for example, it's Fairways at Brookside. You have multiple units that their sewer exits into one, what we call a lateral, right? So it may have 4 units, but they all go into one. One of those units sells. Who is on the hook to do this inspection? The other thing we want to we're trying to define is that ownership part of it, right? Where who's responsible. So we've put this language together. We've worked with Attorney Fisher, and we feel it's pretty close at this point. And that's why we want to bring it to the board, because we want to be able to start the enforcement of this section of it. I'm just relating directly to the I&I here that we're actively, chasing as defined by LCA and DEP. So.
Any questions for either the manager or the zoning officer? Okay, thank you. Item 6, discussion of amending Chapter 21, streets and sidewalks for road opening permits and maintenance of sidewalks. Mr. Beidle.
Yeah, we have 2 sections on this as well. We're looking, and we've identified both with Doug over here on the public works side, as well as our engineering group, specifically to these road opening permits and occupancies. As we find the township does regulate that right-of-way component along township roadways where we've been granted that. So when utilities or other units kind of put things in that. So I'll give you an example, the ongoing cable installation or internet installation from a utility. They currently have to come in and apply for permitting. What we found, in our last several years, we think it's better to kind of identify a little more specific required items in the actual road opening. So things like, where do you designate your material laydown area, making sure that you have the right security, looking at things if we're able to, have the restoration of full width overlay paving. If somebody disturbs our newly paved street, within 2 years of paving a road, things for emergencies, indemnification to the township, starting times, and just more verification and detail back to these applicants. So we're in the process now. Mark is looking through any codes relative to the PUC and what we need to be on the watch for, make sure we don't have any conflicts with state law. But we're working through this application process, and hopefully it's going to be a little bit streamlined, more efficient, but also more detailed. So when residents have questions about these projects, what's going on in the scope of work, the township can give them a thorough and more detailed answer. So that's one component of this section of Chapter 21. The other item that we spoke about probably over a year ago now is sidewalk maintenance. And specifically, we were approached by the design leads for the new Turnpike Bridge over Hamilton Boulevard. There was a question and a discussion in front of the board here about, do we want to see that new bridgeway with a sidewalk for pedestrian crossing? We did kind of define that area of Hamilton Boulevard and connectivity. It would be potentially ideal for that. With that design, since that's a state roadway, PennDOT would want to defer the maintenance of sidewalk over these turnpike areas or turnpike bridges back to the local agency, which of course is the township. As we've looked through the component and maintenance of sidewalks, I don't want to misspeak here. So the solicitor has kind of reviewed that, we can actually potentially designate the component of sidewalk maintenance to abutting landowners to make sure that they would actually take care of those components. So we would need to update the township ordinance in this section on sidewalk maintenance to have those property owners look at that. So if the board chooses not to designate that obligation to abutting property owners for instances of this, or with PennDOT roadways that have sidewalks along them, not township roads, we would have to execute that sidewalk maintenance agreement directly with PennDOT and then maintain those sidewalks for forever. So this is the other component. Like I said, I don't want to misspeak on Mark's end. We are looking for that draft language to see if that's possible. And this would be another section of the chapter we would update.
I can clarify a little bit on the issue on the screen. So the ordinance currently does obviously require property owners to maintain the sidewalk abutting their properties. You can do that on a state road. The township can require that, even though it's on a state road. the words abutting and adjacent are very important to this discussion. For the one we're looking at right here, we have a sidewalk that would go over the turnpike, obviously on a bridge. So what we're determining is whether the property owners on either side of that turnpike pass should have to maintain the sidewalk over the bridge. The language of the law suggests that it can be done. The ordinance, I think, arguably now would require that it be done, but we're talking about cleaning up the language to basically clarify that that's the responsibility of those property owners that you would see. Actually, I think I don't know who the property owner is on the one side, but the other side, we know who the property owner is. So that's the question that we're going to add potentially to the Chapter 21 amendment, in addition to the road opening permit stuff that Bruce explained.
Okay, any questions? Thank you. Item 7, review draft resolution determining the amount of the tax collector bond. Mr. Beidle.
Yes. So every other type reorganization year when the tax collector is reelected, the county requires a fidelity bond for their tax collection component of that. So this is our general housekeeping to be part of that tax collector bond for $43,336,000. That does exceed the 50% of the probable tax collected by a tax collector. So we have to have the township consider this so that they are appropriately bonded for that part of their service. So general standard business practice, and we would recommend the board consider that.
Commissioner Robert.
How is the cost split between the school district?
I would have to look at that because I believe since this is kind of through the county side of it, on the county tax collection, I have to see what our responsibility is. So I have to check that.
Well, okay, so the 43 million is basically school district tax and township tax. It's not the county tax because they have their own tax collector.
Yeah, but the act is through the actual, as I understand it, it's actually through the county for part of that law. So I have to do more research on it. I don't know the answer, and I have to figure out what that would mean to us.
On your research, what's the dollar amount the bond? $43 million.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it.
Any other questions? Okay, item 8, review draft resolution for the 2026 homestead exemption rate. Mr. Beidle.
Yeah, that is the draft. We've discussed it on numerous occasions now. Before the board at your second December meeting, we technically have to by this resolution set the overall value of the homestead. So you are allowed, as I understand it in the state, up to 50% of the average assessment for the township. You'll see to do 50% at its current rate and the budgeted rate, it's $120,125 worth of exemption. So you're just over about 240,000 of that base number for the exemption. So it's necessary that the board consider what that rate would be if you would choose to reduce that amount. That would lower from the 120,000 to below, but this is our standard business practice resolution. So you would need to consider that at the second December meeting when we look at the budget.
Any questions for Mr. Beidle?
Just a comment. When this was initiated, did it so, and this only applies to the residents, primary residents. It don't apply, and we initiated this so with there was a tax increase or when there was, the warehouses would pay their additional fair share and it wouldn't affect the homeowners and their primary residence. I believe, is that correct? Mike?
Unfortunately, I wasn't here when that got enacted, but I believe that
Well,
is the
yeah,
general concept.
I can't say that that was the purpose. It was there to provide relief to people in their primary residence from what the taxes are. It wasn't contemplating tax increases in the future. I've said it before, it's a year-to-year thing. We've done it every year since there's been a property tax back in the township, which is 12 years. So it's somewhat binary. You decide every year, yes, we're going to do it. No, we're not going to do it. We've always done it. To this point, you also can determine how much you're going to set it at, whether it's 50% or higher or lower. To this point, it's been fairly static. It's been where it's been since it was first put in.
But if we would lower it, it would equal a tax increase.
No, it would not equal a tax increase.
It would
All it
put
would,
a tax increase on the
no,
primary residence tax bill.
that's not true. It just means that the property owner would actually be paying a larger percentage of their official tax. Right now, they're getting a discount on their tax.
Would take away their discount then.
It would
So,
take away a portion of their discount, yes.
yeah, it depends how you word it, but it would be an increase in the tax bill.
It's an increase
So
in
you
what,
would lower the,
all it means is that they would be required to pay their actual tax instead of getting a break.
it would be an increase from what they're paying now.
Yes. But it's semantics, but I think people need to understand that. It's not a tax increase. Yes, they would pay more. They'd pay, I think we determined $67 more a year. But that is what their actual tax is. They've just been getting a break on it this whole time. Now, you could also raise taxes, and that would be a tax increase. But it would just be you're asking people to actually foot the bill that they're supposed to pay as opposed to getting a discount.
I guess I worded it wrong. Their bill would increase. Their tax bill would increase.
Their payout would increase. Okay, item 10, review cable franchise agreement with Service Electric Cable Television. Mr. Bidel.
Can we talk about item 9 real quick, the fee schedule adjustment?
No. Item 9, review proposed changes to the fee schedule.
So what we have annually, we look to make sure that we're charging the appropriate fees to individuals for either programming or permits, things of that nature. As we talked about at the budget meeting, one of our big items in item 4 on this page is our solid waste collection. Per the agreement with Waste Management that was approved several years ago, it's necessary that we increase that solid waste collection fee 5%. So you'll see that collection of one trash recycling goes from $556 a year to $584. An additional trash card, if you have one, $236 to $244. The additional recycling card, if you take that, from $160 to $168. So that is part of the trash component. Recreation has looked at their programming, including their summer playground program and overall playground program. So there's some adjustments there. Just to give you an example, an increase from an LMT resident, a registration prior to a first deadline goes from $225 to $235. A Camp Mac full day week resident is projected to increase from 200 to 210. Those various items of programming, there's a couple other Twilight swim costs, and then some various programming that way. Most of this is recreation. Our Memorial Park program, we need to raise our park tree from 250 to 500, and our tree and engraved plaque from 500 to 650. That reflects the cost of what we're seeing in materials out there and how things are for trees. Then we have a component, and Vince can always kind of extrapolate on these or give you some additional information. We need to adjust some of the permit-related fees. So, new construction on a single family, twin or townhouse from 65 cents a square foot gross floor area to 70 cents. A reinspection fee on a building permit, $75 to $80. The modular manufactured housing, $550 to $650. Some things like solar panels, $48 to $55. Once again, these are capturing our costs for inspection and our time and labor. In-ground pools from $850 to $900, and that's up to 3 inspections. And then those professional services like electricians and plumbers that register through our annual registration, $60 to $65. Sanitary sewer connection, a planning module review, as we've realized more time and effort into those, $250 to $350. So there's various other building fees I could also highlight. But if the board would have any questions or need further clarification, just let us know. But after analysis, we're kind of recommending, well, not kind of, we are recommending that the board consider that to make sure our business operation continues to break even and be where we need to be.
Okay, any questions on the fee schedule changes? Item 10, review cable franchise agreement with Service Electric Cable TV.
Thank you. We have moved basically almost to final now with our partner, Attorney Roberts at Cohen Law Group. They handle our telecom service agreements. So Ms. Flexer and I had one further clarification to this agreement regarding the township content channel on Service Electric. So Mr. Attorney Roberts is going to go back to Service Electric. However, what we found is a 10-year agreement, which we're recommending, that's redefined fees as per federal law to include items that were previously not included in the last agreement as the Fed law has changed. Some things like customer service standards, those right-of-way protections as we spoke about, and then the cable system requirements for the area, carrying those township meetings on the Service Electric channel. And there would be a $6,000 cost to the township to play live stream meetings such as this one, like we see on our currently RCN channel. And just various items. We've included the summary of the agreement. It's extensive, but we're proposing a 10-year. As I said, we'll have to get clarification on the township channel, but we feel that it's if we can get through that, we're ready to bring that before the board for your consideration. So we're hopeful sometime in December at the meeting. However, Service Electric is not very responsive to our legal side, so it may take a couple of weeks to get us an answer. So unless there are specific questions, or if you feel we need Attorney Roberts as well, we can have him always jump on for more information. So,
okay, questions for the manager? Okay, item 11, manager updates.
Yeah, thank you. So we briefly spoke about this at the board meeting Thursday about the township being approached by Verizon to execute or consider a franchise agreement for the offering of cable service by Verizon in the township. As we kind of described previously, Verizon is in the area. They've installed internet-based fiber optic throughout the township. Internet does not require a cable franchise agreement. So once they have decided that they want to offer cable television, since we require agreements in this township, it would be necessary for them to negotiate one. The negotiation of this agreement, we would use model templates like we have for RCN and Service Electric at this component. These agreements do actually set a fee paid by these cable providers to the township. Right now, what we receive from two vendors is roughly about 400,000 in our budget each year. So that is one component of this, but I wanted to see if it was kind of okay with the board for me to engage Cohen Law Group. As I said, they have worked on our RCN agreement plus the service electric agreement. There is a cost of $8,910. They will split that however we would want. I would like to get that out of the way as quickly as possible. I believe we have a little bit of general legal room for this in the budget to get this started, but I didn't want the board or the public to think that the township solicitor is pushing to the limit of their budget, knowing that this is a sub-consultant for that. We're happy with their work. I'm recommending that we move forward. I would like to get this started sooner than later, though. But I wanted the board to kind of just, gauge opinion of what you thought about this side of it. So they want an agreement. We need a professional attorney that handles these agreements. Cohen Law Group is the premier telecom side. And it's my recommendation that I get moving as soon as possible, either with a 50%, two payment, or to pay it 100%, get in front of it, and get this off our books.
Okay, is anybody opposed to the township manager engaging in this conversation?
What was the dollar amount?
$8,910. So normal's $9,900, but since we're a previous customer, we get a discount.
And we've seen a sample of what they do, attachment before.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't have any problem going to
Okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Department reports. Start with you, Mr. Tranguch.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Higgins. Just very briefly, but I didn't want to cut Bruce off when he was on a roll on the fee schedule. But as you can see, we did not propose increases to every permit. We evaluate the different permits and what administrative work costs, inspection costs that go into these different permits. So I evaluated the different ones that I felt that we needed to do a slight increase to this year. Just wanted to touch on that. The next thing I'd like to say is prior to the end of the year, we should have the online interactive zoning map up and running. That'll give us direct links from the online zoning code from the districts to the zoning map to give people an opportunity to put their property in, see what district they're in, what their setbacks are. They can put accessory structure. So very interactive online. So we had a final meeting with them today. So we just have to follow up on some mapping GIS things this week and next week, and hopefully we could be able to. Well, not hopefully, we will roll that out prior to the end of the year. Two other things. December 17th at 6 p.m., we do have a Building Code Board of Appeals appeal scheduled. That is for potential for a new building. They are seeking relief from the building code to exceed the maximum allowable hazardous area in a storage type building. So again, that's December 17th at 6 p.m. here at the meeting room A.
When was the last building codes appeal actually happened?
Last year.
Was it? Okay.
And then
ramping it
the
up.
one before that was about a year and a half or so.
Okay. Thank you.
Last thing, one more thing, and then I'll let you go. Have tonight. Community Development Department oversees the yearly contract with the sanctuary at Halfsville. That is for friendly stray cats. So I did receive correspondence from the sanctuary, and their pricing will remain the same as last year. That's $175 for each friendly cat stray that they accept. And then the trap, neuter, and return funding is all based upon what they get from grants. But again, cost to the township remains the same as last year, $175 each. They bill us service as it's rendered. So I think this year, currently, I just looked, we're up to about $3,000, somewhere in that range. So I would recommend that to the board, when this comes before you at a December meeting, my department would recommend that we execute a contract again with the sanctuary. That's all I have, unless there are any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Tranguch? Okay, Mr. Cisco.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just some quick updates for the board and residents that leaf collection ends this Wednesday. Yard waste passes are underway for 2026. Residents can go online or stop the township building or the Public Works Annex to renew their yard waste. And the Kretzer Forum project continues. We're looking for the paving to begin in the first week of December, if weather permitting. Other than that, that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Cisco? Mr. Vital, are there any other department reports for this evening?
Just a reminder that Little Spur is supposed to open the end of this week. So I got an email again from the Turnpike project coordinator. They think they'll be on schedule. So I thank them for their continued cooperation and communication on that.
I thought that was supposed to be today.
25th, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. So that's all I have, unless there's questions or things that the board, needs more information on.
The only thing I would be curious about, so I saw it today with where they are with Little Spur, and I think I mentioned this to you. I drove down Mill Race, and I find it interesting at the bottom of the turn that there is no guardrail. And in the dark, someone is absolutely going to drive right into that retention basin or onto the turnpike. It's something we should engage them on, because it's not like it's a straight road. And if you go down there in the dark and you don't realize what you're navigating, you're going to wind up on the turnpike.
I'll make sure they get some communication from the township.
Thank you. Okay, is there any public comment on agenda topics? Okay, then just before we adjourn, just a reminder that Friday the 5th is our annual Christmas tree lighting up at the community center, 6 to 8. All are welcome. There's our first ever ugly sweater contest is happening. There will be food trucks, there will be fun games, and then of course, the most important part, Santa will arrive around 7:45 in time to light the tree. So all are encouraged to attend. With that, we are adjourned. Everybody?
Good night, everybody.
I'll go, we talk.
Good night, Nate.
All right, Nate.